Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because, well, we are tackling one of the absolute most nerve-wracking moments in literally any professional's life. Imagine this. You've just wrapped up your interview. You answered every single technical question with total, unshakable confidence. You absolutely crushed the practical test. You even built this fantastic rapport with the interviewer. You're sitting there thinking, oh yeah, I've got this job. But then, right before the interview wraps up, the HR manager smiles and hits you with the ultimate final boss question. The one question that makes even the most confident professionals just freeze up. But listen, you don't need to freeze up anymore because today we're giving you the step-by-step blueprint to never lose a negotiation again. We're going to cover the recruiter's mindset, 4 costly mistakes you need to avoid, using AI and market research, crafting your perfect answer, and finally, handling pushback. Okay, let's dive into this. What salary are you expecting? I mean, just hearing that question probably triggers a little bit of internal panic, right? Suddenly, all that hard-earned confidence completely disappears. A million thoughts just start racing through your head. If I ask for too much, are they gonna just reject me outright? If I ask for too little, am I leaving money on the table? Should I just, avoid giving a number altogether? Listen, a lot of candidates fail at this exact stage, and it's not because they lack the technical skills. It's simply because they haven't learned how to navigate this specific, tricky conversation. First things first, Section 1, the recruiter's mindset. Because to win this game, we really have to uncover what the person sitting across the table is actually looking for. You see, there is a huge disconnect between what we feel in the moment and what the recruiter is actually trying to do. We candidates often have this intense, emotional fear of immediate rejection. A lot of people think HR asks this just to trick you or to figure out how to pay you the absolute bare minimum. But the recruiter's goal is actually a logical checklist. Yes, of course, budget is part of it, but they really want to know, have you researched the market? Do you value your own skills realistically? Can you discuss money like a professional? Ultimately, this question is a test of your communication. If you respond logically and calmly, recruiters instantly see you as a high-value professional. Moving right along to Section 2, 4 costly mistakes. Because before we learn exactly what you should say, we really need to look at the traps that defeat most people. All right, mistake number 1. You might have even said this yourself in the past. I'm okay with any salary. Now, in your head, I know this sounds incredibly accommodating and flexible. But to a recruiter, oh, it's a massive red flag. It actually signals to HR that you haven't done your homework and you really haven't thought about your own value in the broader marketplace. So instead of being overly accommodating, you want to use a professional correction like this. I'm open to discussing a fair salary based on the role, responsibilities, and market standards. The crucial point here is that this specific phrasing keeps you flexible, but it keeps the conversation entirely professional. It firmly establishes that you absolutely know your worth. And that builds perfectly into mistake number 2, asking for an entirely unrealistic salary. Let's say a job normally pays between $60,000 and $70,000 a year, and you walk in demanding $120,000, but you just don't have the experience to back that up. The recruiter isn't going to admire your boldness. They're going to conclude that you literally don't understand the position. Confidence is absolutely crucial, for sure, but it has to be supported by solid research. Mistake number 3 is the total opposite problem. Imagine the recruiter lowballs you and offers, say, $58,000. If you instantly just say, yes, that's fine, without asking a single follow-up question, it makes you look totally uninformed. The recruiter will immediately wonder if you actually know your market value, or if you're just desperate enough to accept the very first number thrown your way. Instead, always ask to hear about the complete compensation package, including things like benefits and future salary reviews. Which brings us to the 4th costly mistake, getting emotional. Statements like, I have a lot of family responsibilities, or my rent is really expensive in the city, might be 100% true, but they do not belong in this conversation. Companies do not pay you based on your personal expenses. They pay you based on the value you bring to the role. You have to keep the focus strictly on your skills, your experience, and the responsibilities of the job. Okay, so we know the traps to avoid. Section 3, AI and market research. How do we actually figure out what we're worth before we even step foot in the room? Now, what's really interesting about this is how these specific variables completely change the baseline for a role. You can't just Google IT support engineer salary and blindly take the first number. An IT support engineer with 3 years of experience in London might earn a vastly different amount than someone with the exact same resume in a smaller town in Ohio. It's like a giant puzzle. You have to consider your exact years of experience, specific certifications, your geographic location, the industry, and the size of the company. Pinning down these variables is what gives you unshakable confidence. And here is exactly how you can build yourself a specialized toolkit to negotiate more intelligently. Step 1. Prompt your AI assistant with something highly specific. Try something like, what's the average salary for an IT support engineer with 3 years of experience in Berlin? Then, step 2, prompt the AI to role-play with you. Tell it, act as an HR manager. Ask me about my salary expectations and critically evaluate my answer. Practice this multiple times. By the time you get to the real interview, it's going to feel like a breeze. Just a quick side note, though, always remember to cross-reference any AI data with trusted, standard job platforms to be safe. All right, you're armed with your research. It is time for battle tactics. Section 4, crafting your answer. And this brilliantly illustrates your ultimate cheat sheet for exactly how you should respond based entirely on where you are in your career. Let's break it down. If you're a fresher, your main focus is growth. Your script should go something like this. My main goal is to learn and grow. I'm looking for a competitive salary that aligns with company standards, and I'm very open to discussing the complete package. Now, if you're experienced, say a 5-year veteran, your tactic shifts. You provide a specific, realistic range. Based on my experience, certifications, and market standards, I'm looking in the range of $75,000 to $85,000, but I'm happy to discuss the complete package. And what if you're making a career change? Focus on your transferable skills. Simply state that you want a fair salary that reflects both your past operational experience and your new, relevant training. So you've given your absolutely perfect answer. But what if they push back? Section 5, handling pushback. Sometimes this pushback comes as a really tricky, high-pressure question, like, so what are you currently earning? Now, assuming local laws actually allow them to ask this question, you want to answer honestly, but you must immediately deploy a pivot like this. My current compensation is $62,000. However, for my next role, I'm primarily looking for greater responsibility and a compensation package that reflects the new value I'll bring. Boom. You answered their question, but you immediately shifted the focus right back to your future value. But what if they flat out tell you your expectation is just too high? First rule, do not panic. And whatever you do, please don't say, okay, fine, I'll take anything. Instead, respond calmly with this. Could you share the budgeted range? I'd like to understand the flexibility based on the role's responsibilities. This completely turns a potential hard rejection into a constructive, open conversation. Because remember, even if the base salary literally cannot change, things like benefits, sign-on bonuses, and future training reviews often have a lot of wiggle room. Let's rapidly summarize everything we've learned today into the 5 golden rules for your next interview. 1. Research the market salary. 2. Know your specific skills and achievements inside and out. 3. Give a realistic range, never just one fixed single number. 4. Stay confident and professional no matter what they throw at you. And 5. Always consider the entire compensation package, not just that base salary. I really want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. In the AI era, companies don't just hire technical skills anymore. They hire professionals who can communicate, who can adapt, and who can clearly explain their own worth. Salary negotiation isn't about greed. It's honestly the ultimate demonstration of your professional value. The candidates who actually succeed aren't the ones asking for the most money. They're the ones who understand the market and negotiate respectfully. So ask yourself, how are you communicating your true value? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take these tools, do your research, and go secure the compensation you absolutely deserve.